Welcome to Dynasty What If. I'm Paul Patterson. He's Chris Miles. And in this series, we're going to discuss things that might happen in 2023. In each video in this series, we're going to try to capture the range of outcomes for a specific player. What's their upside? What's the worst case scenario? Then we'll consider how these outcomes might affect that player's outlook in Dynasty leagues. The hope here is that you'll walk away from each video with a better understanding of how the season might unfold for that particular player. Today, in our first installment, Chris and I are going to tackle Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm going to lay out the upside case for Gibbs, and then Chris is going to look at the potential floor. To be clear, the case that I'm about to lay out, the case Chris is about to lay out, isn't what we're projecting to happen. Really, what we're doing here is we're playing devil's advocate. We're considering what's possible, and then afterward, we're going to discuss more what's probable and how that's going to affect his dynasty value moving forward. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the upside case for Jahmyr Gibbs. And really, you don't have to look any further than the 2017 New Orleans Saints. That season, the Saints drafted Alvin Kamara in the third round with Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson already on the roster. They had a dominant slot weapon in Michael Thomas and little else in the passing game. They had an immobile, check-down prone quarterback in Drew Brees and a high-volume, fast-paced passing offense. The Saints offense that year averaged 62.5 plays per game. The Detroit Lions last year were just over 64. In that season, Alvin Kamara played 16 games, and he only rushed 120 times, which is just over 7.5 per game. He had 8 rushing touchdowns, 100 targets, 81 receptions, and 5 receiving touchdowns. He actually only played 44% of the Saints snaps. But here's the thing. He finished as the RB4 in points per game that year. That's the power of the target. And Jahmyr Gibbs, as we know, is an excellent receiving prospect. He had one of the best receiving profiles that we've seen since Christian McCaffrey. So what I see is a very similar path to production. We have a Lions offense that's going to be pass heavy, fast paced, similar to that Saints team. We have a quarterback that doesn't scramble, and Jared Goff likes to check down. I think Gibbs can carve out a significant target share in that offense, 17, 18%. And even if he's only getting 8 or 9 carries per game, his sheer passing work is going to get him in that running back 5 conversation as a rookie. So I kind of see that as the realistic ceiling for Gibbs. And that gets me very excited for his potential, not only in 2023, but for his dynasty value as well. Chris, how do you see the floor for Jahmyr Gibbs this season?
Yeah, Paul, everything you said makes sense. But, when we're projecting, we can look at their college production as well and their prospect profile. And Jahmyr Gibbs is a 199-pound running back. We've had, in the last 10 years of fantasy football, one running back under 200 pounds eclipsed 10 points per game in their rookie season. That's just not a good number out of 23 drafted, by the way. If you look at that, these coaches, they tend to, like, the players either tend to get hurt or the coaches tend to not play them as often. But these guys just aren't necessarily safe bets in their rookie year. And then, we have David Montgomery coming from the Bears, who is not a slouch at receiver. He's had 50 targets in pretty much every season of his career so far, and he is solid competition for Jahmyr Gibbs in the passing game. I mean, if we just look at some names that compare to Gibbs as an overall prospect profile, when you look at his scrimmage yards per game and his touchdown share in college, you get guys like Kalen Ballage, Tyler Ervin, Marcus Murphy, Tristan Edber. Like, who even are these people? So I just think we should be a little more concerned about what his floor could be compared to against what his undeniable ceiling is.
So those are the ceiling and floor projections for Gibbs. Let's talk about what's most likely to happen, at least according to us. Honestly, I feel very strongly about the ceiling case that I laid out, and I think that that's very possible for Gibbs here in his rookie season. I was a big fan of his prospect profile. I've been drafting him aggressively in my rookie drafts. He's actually my most rostered running back in Dynasty now. So not to say that I'm biased, but I'm pulling pretty hard for a top 5 rookie finish for Jahmyr Gibbs. Chris, where do you lean? Are you more so on the side of your floor projection, or do you kind of like the case I laid out?
Yeah, Paul, I'm right with you. For the most part, in the upside, I don't really think there's a chance that Jahmyr Gibbs is, not going to be a top 12 running back this year, honestly. If you look at, like, top 15 running back finishes in fantasy as a rookie, like, they're just ridiculous numbers. They're RB1s almost every time. I think that Gibbs is going to have a really high receiving floor. Like you said, he could easily have 100 targets this year. He could easily have over 100 carries. I mean, that right there is RB 14, 15 already. throwing a couple touchdowns, and I mean, he's going to be an RB1. And if that happens at his age with the current dynasty landscape, I mean, he's a lock to be a top 3 dynasty running back next year.
Yeah, I think this is really where the value of projections comes in. It's not so much looking at what's kind of the median outcome or like what happens as an average of all the possibilities, but kind of seeing if you kind of tweak different aspects of the projection, what is the low end, what's the high end, because it helps you to realize things like just how much a steady target share can boost the floor production of a running back, right? We can see that Gibbs, he is pretty insulated. Like barring a catastrophic injury, he's going to produce this year, even if he's splitting work with David Montgomery on the ground. Um, and we know that rookie running backs taken early in the NFL draft, they have an excellent track record of maintaining or gaining startup ADP the following year. Basically, every running back drafted in the first or second round of the NFL draft over the past several seasons has seen an increase in ADP. That includes players like James Cook last year, who frankly didn't do much as rookies. There's just a serious thirst for young running backs that have secure roles, so to speak, where I think Gibbs has a better chance to be the overall running back 2 in Dynasty than to be outside the top 5 this time next year.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think you actually made a great point by comparing him to Alvin Kamara's rookie season, because if you were to say that a rookie running back was drafted to be the 3rd running back on his team and listed the carries and targets that he got, no one would expect him to have been a top 5 running back that year, but in points per game, but he was. And that just shows how little Gibbs really needs to be an elite running back immediately. And if we also consider that the Lions running back room as a whole last year was literally the top scoring RB group in the league, and now Gibbs is taking probably half of that, and he's going to take all the valuable targets. I mean, yeah, the sky's the limit for him as a rookie.
Yeah, in full PPR leagues, especially, it is all systems go for Gibbs. We're both very in on him, and honestly, he's a buy in every format. Or I'm sorry, every team build. If you're rebuilding, I don't care. You can go get him. If you're contending, you can go get him. He's going to help you now. He's going to help you later. He's going to hold his value. Go get Jahmyr Gibbs. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like or a comment down below. Really helps us out. And subscribe to Dynasty Football Factory so that you can catch all of our future videos, including more installments of Dynasty What If, which will be coming at you the next few weeks as we lead up to the football season. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.